tomato sauce. And it's not your typical tomato sauce. It is so rich, it is full of meat, it is definitely for meat lovers. And it's not typical because actually this recipe comes to you all from my husband.
Hey guys, Joe. Yep, same Joe at Small Home Off-Grid Prepping. This recipe, we've made it for years and years and years. It's just incredible. It's very old school, very, very traditional. It's not the easiest to make, but it's well worth the effort you put into it, and it's the gateway to a lot of different recipes. We have one coming out in stuffed shells. You see here we have spaghetti, so give it a shot.
So welcome to this Cooking with Love channel. We are cooking with my love of my life, my husband. This is the recipe that he loves to cook for us. So let's cook. This is actually a double recipe, so if you don't want to go that route, just cut everything on half, but you still will have plenty food. We like to make a lot of it, so we start with a 14-quart pot, which is about 11.5 liters or so. So keep that in mind. This is a double recipe because we stock up and freeze the leftovers. We have 2 pounds of ground beef, and
you see me here shredding the onion. This part's really important. You need the onion to kind of liquefy, turn into juices as you shred it. So you want to take your time and shred it really good here.
And that's what it's really a little bit different in this recipe, because we are making meatballs out of the meat, but they will not really be in meatballs at the end of the recipe. So we have our onions shredded here. Like you see, we used a couple of onions here for that 2 pounds of meat. And this will be very juicy because if you don't shred the onion, it will not come out as juicy. So this is my husband's trick that he uses, and he shreds it. And we're adding next garlic. About 6 garlic cloves. If they are small, you can add a little bit more. So you see, there goes our garlic into the mixture. And in typical meatball recipe, of course, you have also some breadcrumbs, so we will be adding that too. And again, they will not be your typical meatballs. A little bit of salt and pepper to taste, depends on how salty or peppery your recipe you want to have. But as you see on the video, this is about what we used. So here comes
1 cup of breadcrumbs. So mix in your breadcrumbs here. Just dump them on the top. You have a few more things to add in.
Yes, we are not done. We will be adding, of course, some additional stuff here. So we have a half a cup of ketchup, approximately. And we are putting all that in a big mixing bowl, and hang on to that bowl because we're gonna be using that bowl a few times here. So trying to cut down on the cleaning dishes. We have also a couple of whole eggs, and yeah, we don't add the shells. When we're talking about 2 whole eggs, not including the shells. Clarification. And out of all this, we are making these big mama jama
meatballs. And don't worry when you're making these meatballs. They're going to be extremely loose. The consistency is going to be real loose on these things, but you want it to be that way. These in the end will not be meatballs, okay? These will slowly dissolve in the sauce as you're simmering it, and they release all the juices and spices.
So we preheated our pot, and we are putting about 6 tablespoons of olive oil. Make sure you're using a good olive oil. I would recommend it. And as you see, we are adding the meatballs. They are going to get a little bit browned, and we are looking for them to release a little bit of the juices, and we will be rolling them around a little bit too. But again, they will be eventually falling apart. So if they do fall apart on you, not a biggie.
Yep, that's gonna happen here. They will fall apart, and don't worry about that. So now we're gonna take the sausage, and I just cut this up, put 2 pieces together, and cut it right down the center. And we're using 2 pounds of Italian sausage. Then I take the pieces I cut, so I'm cutting them into quarters is what I'm doing here. I'm taking 1 piece and cutting it into 4 pieces.
And of course, all the pieces, they will have to get cut down, and that's the 2 pounds for the recipe that we made. If you don't want that much sauce and you want to cut down a little bit, you can make a half. But again, it comes out to be quite a few meals, and we love that part. The fact is that this sauce takes a while to make it. I think it's worth to make a lot of it, because that way you have a ready meal whenever you feel like it. You just pull it out of the freezers and cook wherever you want to use that sauce with. So you see our meatballs are cooking here and kind of like falling apart, not a biggie. But we will take them out at that point from the pot and put them in the bowl that we used to make those meatballs.
So yeah, like I said, you see on the bottom here, they're falling apart. Don't worry about that. When you get them all out, scrape a little bit of the meat out, but again, don't even worry about getting all of it out,
because all of it will be going back in anyway. At this point, when the meatballs are out, we will be putting our sausage into all that drippings and let the sausage also brown up a little. So you see our sausage is slowly getting going because we are cooking all this on a very low heat. Your pot at all this time will be always set on the low heat. Just enough for the sauce later to be a little bit bubbling, and at this point our sausage is only in at this point. So when the sausage is ready and has that little bit of a coating of the brown on the bottom, we're gonna just flip it around and toss it around in the pot and let it cook some more for a few more minutes. And when the sausage is ready, we will add next our ingredients. And
so now we're adding 4 cans of tomatoes, and this part you just got to kind of get into. My wife always gets me on me with this one here, but I wash my hands real good here. But you see, once you dump all this in, you're gonna have to get in there and break those tomatoes up with your hands, because you don't want to completely puree them or crush them. You want to leave nice big chunks of the tomatoes as you break them up.
And of course, if you want to use some kind of food processor, that's fine too. And we are putting our meatballs back into the sauce. And we are at the point that all that ingredients right now, they will slowly, again, we're using low heat setting, they will slowly cook now for a whole 45 minutes, and you do nothing with it. You just let all that bond together, and for 45 minutes you are free for now. Find something else to do, or I don't know, read a good book. So you see, everything is just starting to bubble up on us, and we are just waiting for that 45 minutes to go by, and we do not touch it. That's what my husband says. Don't touch it, don't stir it. They don't have to, you don't have to do anything with it.
Leave it alone.
But at this point now,
so at this point, this is important. You want to use chicken stock. Don't use water, and you're going to need 6 cups of this. This is made to combine the pork, the beef, the chicken together. So we're going to add in our cans of tomato paste here, and we want to mix the tomato paste with the chicken stock. And now we dump that in.
We are using 4 cans of tomato paste, and you might want to put a little bit of stock first to mix the tomato paste easier, and later add the rest of it. And we are putting all that in our pot and cooking for 4 hours. But this is where you're gonna need to have a timer set, or just don't forget it, because you will have to stir everything about every 10 minutes, including the rim of the pot. You want to kind of clear it up and get all the way to the bottom. And the flavor in the house, the smell of that sauce,
incredible. Just
wait. It's all worth it. You will have to wait for a while now, so maybe cook it on the weekend, make it a family fun. But in 4 hours, you will be making this sauce over and over again, because wait when you try it. So yeah, make sure you get it all the way to the bottom, and you see all that meat. Our meatballs are dissolving. You really don't have the meatballs anymore. They were only there to serve the purpose. And now the whole sauce is slowly simmering for the next 4 hours, and all that sausage and all the flavor from all our ingredients, look at those little simmering bubbles. Isn't it beautiful?
So your meatballs will slowly dissolve over a period of time. Usually I find it takes about 2 hours. If you get past that 2 hours and so and you have little chunks, you could feel free to kind of smush them a little bit. But don't touch them for at least that first couple hours. Just feel free to mix the sauce. Don't have to be gentle with it. And like I said, after a couple hours, if you still have little chunks, then just go ahead and break them up.
And all of it will become one thick consistency. In that 4 hours, the broth will cook down in this, And of course, you want to serve it with cooked spaghetti. And look, all that nice thick spaghetti sauce with all that sausage. And can you see what I'm talking about? Oh gosh, wait when you try it. It has so much flavor. We have been making this for decades now, and it's the best recipe of the sauce. I mean, every household has their own version of the sauce, but I really highly encourage you to try this one because I really know you're gonna love it. And it has our special touch here. Of course, you have to have some freshly grated Parmesan cheese that you have to add on the top, and deliciousness just begins. And like we said on the beginning, we make different stuff out of this sauce, so stay put. Make sure you subscribe to our channel because we will be putting out different recipes with that. And one of the recipes that we made out of this sauce, it's also stuffed shells that they are out of this world. And you see we have our Parmesan cheese ready, and if you wanted to, you can add some fresh basil or even parsley and serve it that way with a garnish and a little additional flavor. And it is truly delicious, and my kids grew up on all this stuff.
It is really incredible. Like I said, it's old school, very traditional. This is the kind of sauce you get in a 5-star restaurant up in New York. It's just really good. It's well worth the effort to making this thing. And like my wife said, we actually make a lot and we freeze it. And we have this at least once a week, maybe more.
It's really convenient to have this recipe ready, to make it defrosted really easy. And I would recommend to portion it in containers so you can take it as much as you need. And yes, we even make our own pizza with this sauce. It is truly delicious. So make sure you make it. Let us know what you think about it. What is your touch in here? Because this recipe definitely, it has a lot of my husband touch. He came up with all this from different sources, and it is really heavy, meaty recipe. So I know you will enjoy it.
I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.
We'll see you next time.